Good afternoon. So, after some rest, we will continue with the sculptures. Maybe we'll add the new starship today, but probably, realistically, I will not be able to do so because it requires more work, but I will work on it. And there was also the issue of the night and the day. As I said several times, the Israelis do not want me to walk in the night, but only during the day. That was one of the reasons, presumably, for my arrest. So they will be able to control like when I walk outside. So it will be forbidden from walking all around the clock, but presumably with confirmation like from the Guardian, I'll be able to with great fear to walk to buy something in the grocery store, only in the morning, and because that way they will have this. I mean, it's unbelievably both cruel and stupid, and to bet like on the entire earth. But that's what they've done. And they've done it because they are doing it for so long, and they are just used to do it, and they know that they will only get compensated with more money from NATO and the Western countries. So that's what they keep doing it. I mean, the more they torture me, the more money they receive from the West, and this is true for many, many years now. So of course they keep doing it, and this will continue to be the truth. That is why if I am to be arrested, and this is not clear at all, it will be done by the Chinese. If at all, no nation in the West will even move one finger to rescue me, even when they positively know that the royal family is about to suffer tremendously because of their inability to protect them, and more so because they don't want to protect them. But this MI6 will not move one finger, and this is certain. This is a certainty, and the reason is very simple: because they are pedophiles and homosexuals, and they hate me since I was born, and they rather not only see the whole royal family perish, but see all of themselves perish and their children die, than move one finger. This is a fact, and it's not a new fact. Of course, the same is true for the CIA. If someone will save me, it will be the Chinese, but I mean, there is no guarantee that it will happen. There are several things that make the Chinese different, and I spoke about it a lot in the past, and it's not an issue now to speak about it again. But the main two issues is, first, they don't have this kind of overt rainbow agenda and like prosperity to elevate pedophiles to the ruling class in their society. I'm not saying that in the vast intelligence services of the Chinese you cannot find any homosexual or any pedophile. I mean, statistically, I would guess that statistically there are many, but they are humans, but it's not. They don't have this kind of a cultural attitude of like elevating these creatures to the top of the security system, and this has a huge impact on my life, on my torture. This is one, and second is the fact that they are a society that is centered on manufacturing, and I've spoken about it a lot in the past, so I will not elaborate too much. But even though I said it in the past, manufacturing is not a sacred tenet of my philosophy. Sometimes too much manufacturing is also non-productive, and sometimes you need to curb your enthusiasm and even limit manufacturing and focus on other parts of human I would say activity. So it's not that manufacturing is not everything. So just to be clear, but the way I see it, they are the complete negative view, not negative is like a bad, it's the opposite view of Israel, that do not manufacture anything at all besides speech, a voice. And this also, first, is very strongly related to the issue of the rainbow, because people of the rainbow they tend to be much less prone to manufacturing. And this reality was known way before any kind of religion that you know of. What I said now is something that humans understood tens of thousands of years ago. LGBTQ is not a new issue. No one says that it's a new issue. These things were existed in human societies since basically forever, and also in Venus, by the way. No, it's not a new issue. It's not unique. It's not unique even in Earth among Homo sapienses. Certainly it wasn't unique among other humanoids on Earth, and it's not unique even in Venus. And the resistance to this phenomenon predates any kind of religion that you know of by tens of thousands of years. The main problem historically was the antagonism between these life forms, I would say, lifestyles, and being productive. Because throughout all of history, it was known that humans are characterized among many other things, but there are two very, very stark characteristics of humans. First, that they need to put a lot of effort in growing their children, even though in the past it was much less than today. Today it's actually even more than, today, humans are considered children made sometimes until the age of 30, and they are, many times their parents, put unbelievable assets on their upbringing. But even 50,000 years ago, it was already true that humans put a ton of effort, much more than any other animal, considerably more than any other animal. They put more effort in raising their children. Even if their children started to walk when they were 4 or 5 or 6 years, and actually you can still see it. I've seen it myself in when I traveled Laos, maybe 10 years ago or something like that. So it's still true, to this day. But even if the children start to contribute to the household when they are 4 or 5 or 6 things, which of course considered it's criminal in the West, and when the developed world is not only non-customary, it's even criminal offense. But even in such societies, and that when they were 12 or 13, they were men already, or women already. Even then, even this is related to other animals. It's a huge amount of effort to put when elephants or rhinoceros they are born, it's elephants, they walk huge distances, in kind of one a military march, one after the other. You can see it in the 1960s Disney of the Jungle Book. So yes, they do it, and they do it they walk 10 minutes, and they remember, they have maps that are in their head that no human can really, no human can have that memory of mapping memory that elephants have. This is known since long ago. It's not a new thing. But they have they remember maps after of places for decades. They can return to a place after 40 years and remember the detailed maps of the area. This is not new thing. It's known to humans since long ago. So they walk. So when the elephant mother gives birth, they don't even stop. She just needs to wait on the side, give birth, wait until a couple of minutes, or perhaps I don't know, hour maximum, until the newborn can actually start to walk, and then they just need to catch up with the team. The same is to some extent it's true for rhinoceros and many other animals. Many other animals, when they're out of the womb, they start they start on the job training, no training at all. So humans require a lot of assets, a lot of energy. And then another thing that is unheard of in the animal kingdom, but is true to humans, and also of course to Venusians, and of course to many other humanoids like the Neanderthals, but others as well, is the fact that they hope to live even after they cannot sustain themselves. Or in other words, they have the expectation to be old, which is something that is not, there is no such a thing in the animal kingdom. There is no such a thing as being old in the animal kingdom. Old as defined as a person that is healthy and can is still be part of society, but he cannot support, like, he cannot support himself. He cannot hunt or participate in hunting or gathering or any other way of sustenance. So there are no old animals according to this definition, but humans expect. I mean, not all of them became or actually managed to reach old age. Okay, and of course, old age was defined differently than today. I mean, in the past, like, I mean, certainly in Paleolithic times, because it was a different time, and then even today the age of the pension age is I mean, it changes all the time. So even today, like, I mean, the definitions change, but the basic definition of old is a person that, I mean, can no longer, like, I mean, do the work that is needed in order to live. This is ancient, and it's not only, like, I mean, it belongs to humans, but also to Neanderthals and other humanoids, but only to them, not to any other animal. So they expect, even though not always, it wasn't always, I mean, expectation to fulfill themselves. Even if they were kings, like, even, King Lear famously, I mean, like, gave everything to his daughters, and then, I mean, they threw him, like, to the garbage. I mean, to be, like, I mean, so, I mean, even if you are a king, I mean, nothing is certain in life. But people expected or hoped, and it was part of their psychology since many thousands, like tens of thousands of years ago, probably hundreds of thousands of years ago. They had the expectation not to die when they become old. Both of these issues, this long childhood period, and the expectation of to be alive to at least sometime when you are old, means that the people that are adults carry much bigger burden than otherwise in the animal kingdom. Much bigger burden. And this kind of burden is still true today, because even many times, like, financial or fiscal terms hide reality from people. Like, people do not understand, like, that, like, what actually is the economy. They think that, I mean, the economy is kind of like all sort of numbers and bills and, like, metal objects that, I mean, someone is, like, moving from here to there. But in reality, what I just described, which is, of course, the basic definition of a family, is also the foundation of any economy, even if it's comprised of more than 1 billion people. This is also true to the economy of China. It cannot be otherwise. There are always children that need, like, I mean, people to give them, like energy and assets, and there are old people that require, like, I mean, medical attention and food and whatever. And there's the people in the middle that, I mean, inevitably be given, I mean, supply these things to them. It cannot be any other, it cannot be any differently. It doesn't matter if it's one family or an economy of 1 billion people and more. It's the economy must rely on this model, because there is no other option. You cannot eat gold, you cannot eat bills. Old people require food that is grown now or recently. They require, like, services that are mostly supplied now. So the people that actually grow the food or manufacture the things that or supply the services that the old people are consuming, and the children are consuming, are the people in the middle, the adults. It cannot be any other way. So you can talk about money, I mean, however you want, like gold, money, I mean, I don't know, stock exchange, trust funds, but this is all just, I mean, this kind of, I mean, these are like abstract machines, but the reality was always the same. The ones that actually supply the goods and the services are mostly adults, but they need to supply it not only to themselves, but also to the older generation and to the younger generation. This was always true since hundreds of thousands of years ago. This is part of being human. Not only human, also Neanderthals and different, all sorts of humans, and also Venusians. It cannot be any different, and cannot be any other way. And the LGBTQ lifestyles that are known since long ago, all over the world, no one says it's new. I mean, you know, sometimes, I mean, people like, I don't know, like in, like, you know, in Georgia, or like even in Russia, or in Iran, sometimes they say, we don't have these things, we don't have gays, we don't have... Of course they have these things. Of course they have it. All humans have these things. This was known since forever. This phenomenon was known since forever. It's nothing new. Even supposedly new things like transgenderism is actually not new at all. Certainly not in Venus, but also not in Earth. Nothing of that is new. Nothing is new. And you need to be crazy to think that something is new or that something was not known like all around the globe. It was known all around the globe since like way before even like people had any kind of idea what is the Jews or what is Jesus and I mean before any kind of religion that you know of. Maybe they had also like very like old religions that they not even remembered by humans today. But this is certainly does not relate to any religion that you know about. These are all ancient phenomena that occur all around the globe. But the problem was always the same. The people saw this lifestyle as a threat to the human model of taking care of the older people and the younger people. This was always the problem with LGBTQ since forever. And it's still the problem. It is still the problem. It's the same problem. It's just the same problem. That was the problem 100,000 years ago, and it's still the same problem. Because if you do not accept or live according to the model of the family, that that adults are taking care of, like are supplying the services and goods for the older ones and the children, the alternative, and there was always an alternative. The alternative was always the same, and it was very famous alternative that you can see all around the globe since forever, because the alternative also existed since forever. The alternative is the life of the pirate. Or the raider. The nomad that just riding his horse and just slaying like other people and take their food and money from them. Or if it's in the seas, it's pirates. If it's in the land, it's like not like Mordors or raiders or whatever names. But however you call them, they always existed. They always existed. And it's not even something that particularly belonged to the Neolithic society, or the agricultural society. Even so, of course, when people started to become farmers, it only gave more incentive for the pirates to raid them, because they had surplus of food, and so there was more to take. But you can find this kind of lifestyle even in Paleolithic societies, that side by side of the productive lifestyle, that people are actually supplying things for themselves and for their children and for their elders. So this predates the agriculture by many years. So it was always the problem. It was always the problem. People always feared that the LGBTQ lifestyles will inevitably direct people to the course of life of the piracy or raider, and not to self-sustenance. And this is still correct. This is still true. And there is no place that you can see it better than the Holy Land, the state of Israel. There is no place in the world that this is not, that this issue is not, you cannot see it in a better way than in Israel. So, as soon I will continue with the last chapter, and just in a moment or so. And we will continue discussing sexual issues. And also I will continue with the sculptures. What I was starting to say is that regarding the night, is that there is issue with night and day that Israel do not really completely understand, but it doesn't really matter. I am not sure if it's time to elaborate on that, because the radiation will kill humans whether it's in the night or the day or both. It doesn't really matter. It's more like, it's also symbolic issues here, but humans don't care. They just don't care. So maybe I'll speak about it later, but it's not, it's not that urgent actually. So I'll drink something now, maybe a cup of coffee, and we'll continue with the conclusion of the robot saga.